growth rate of new sales plus or minus 2%, decline rate of, I'm going to call that old sales, maybe 3%. Did we also have annual fixed costs? Yes, we did. I'm just making up those numbers, but maybe the costs are a little bit more variable. So let's do a calculation on the best case scenario. For the first year sales, I'm going to do plus or minus 10% of that. So I'm going to actually do this to make my life easier later on. 1 plus 10%. I'm going to leave that as it is. First year decline of the old. What did I say? That's 5%. Now, for the best case scenario, I knew I added to the old sales. How about this? First year decline percentage of the old. Is MPV goes up if I reduce that number or increase that number? I mean, you can see it by entering the numbers, but if my first year rates are not declining as much as I thought they were, that actually reduces the MPV. Okay? No, increases the MPV. Remember, decline in the sales of the existing products is a negative factor. So if I decrease that by 5%, that's better. This we did plus or minus 3%. Again, that's a negative item. So I put a negative there. And this is a positive item. And I did that plus or minus 2%. And this was 1 minus 10%. Remember, it's a cost, so I choose the lower limit. Okay. So I entered all the variable values in the best case scenario. Let's see what it did. Well, it basically increased MPV compared to the best case by $23 million. Okay. You're probably sure that if I did the worst case, exactly the reverse is going to happen. So best case MPV 28.8 million. Worst case MPV. Now I'm going to change the signs of these. Negative. positive, positive. Actually, let me, I think I calculated it wrong because this should have been positive. Hmm, it increased quite a bit. Let me check these. Yeah. Oh, that 2% made a lot of difference. So it's 54.0 million. I'm gonna round it up to that. Now let's change the signs of these. And under the worst case scenario, I got negative $40 million, 40.2. All right. That's the idea behind scenario analysis. If we had done this scenario and we had found out that worst case MPV is also positive, that increases our confidence in the project. Even when really the bad stuff happens, uh, project is still expected to make money. This kind of also gets me to our next topic. Just because you accepted a project does not mean that you're not allowed to do anything else once the project is put in place. Let's say we accepted this project. Remember the base case. I'm gonna bring. Oh, the base case is $5 million positive, right? I'm on the iffy side, so I may even decide, okay, I'm not going to take the risk. But there are factors that we have not considered yet, and these are called uh, real options, also known as managerial options. Okay, based on the base case scenarios, I have an NPV of $5 million positive. So let's say I accepted the project, and 1 year from today, I'm going to get a realization of what that first year sales number is going to be. I estimated that to be 90, but let's say it turned out to be 81. Okay. And to make things simple, I'm not going to change anything else. Suppose 1 year from now, we realize that first year sales are 10% lower than forecasted in the base case. And let's kind of do that. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm going to make these 0 because I want to change those things later. I can do something about it. All right. As you know, if I let the project go, given that I know that first year sales are going to be 81, I know I'm going to lose $18.6 million from this project. So considering this, at that point, I may ask myself the question, okay, sales are not as good as I thought they were going to be. What if I have two options? I can say, well, we made a decision. Let's just live with it. Maybe we'll get lucky in the future. Or I can ask myself, what if I basically scrap the whole project? Typically, there's a cost associated with that. Let's say, you made commitments to suppliers, customers, franchisees, whatever, depending upon your case. Getting out of those commitments may cost you some money. Let's assume that money is $10 million, or let's make it 15. If we choose to scrap the project,